Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Special episode today on Wednesday because tomorrow it is Thanksgiving, they told me, so we didn't want to bother too many Juventini and we wanted to let them enjoy with the family, but that's why we anticipated one day. We wanted to be there because we made a promise with all of you that except of disasters, we are here every single week in, week out. We don't give up. Like yesterday, Johnny Be Good, Iceman, he was also not giving up. When everyone turned the back to Johnny, well, he said, I'm there at the right moment, at the right minute, scoring that goal, a fantastic goal after the one of Openda, after the one of Weston McKennie, after the one of Miretti that was cancelled. Juventus won, and today we comment a win together with our friends from Turin Giants, with Frederic, with Zach, with Kevin. I repeat for all of you, and then we stop about it. If you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like to support these three fantastic guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you didn't yet, but also to their channel. For the people that want, you can listen to us here live or in replay, or you can listen to us on podcast version on Apple or on Spotify on Turin Giants. I did everything that I need to do. Now I will brief. Ciao, Kevin.
Ciao, Beppe. And I know you said it's in the past already, but obviously we have to congratulate you on your victory last week, which was the day after we recorded. Last time I was in Helsinki. Now I'm back home in Boston. But again, congratulations. It was so awesome to see you take that victory home, which I think has inspired our team.
Look, we predicted it, okay? A week ago today, Frederic and I don't know if you were on that too, Kevin, but we said it's guaranteed. Beppe, write the acceptance speech on the train because we know what's happening, and it did. So big congratulations to you. And I know you do listen to us, so you must have heard the congratulations that we spent a long time on our episode right after that, because it means a lot to the Juve community, and especially for you to have such a good guy win that award. So we're very, very proud and happy for you and all of your fans that were so big and also getting you there.
Yeah, it was well deserved. Nothing more to add. Like you're a, like, I'm not saying this because we're on the podcast, but you're a really, really, really good guy. You really deserved it. You make really good content, not just with us, but also on your own, and you work hard. So it was well deserved, and I love to see somebody get rewarded for the effort and the work they put in. So congrats.
Look, let me share with you because you are here in the 12th episode, if I'm not wrong, today. So this one is also yours, and I really mean it. All the people that are contributing, guys, 12 episodes of average, let's say 1 hour 30, because sometimes we do a bit less, sometimes a bit more, which means it's already more than we are close to the 20 hours together with you, which this trophy is also yours, but especially also to all the people in the chat. I didn't receive a lot of congratulations from the English content creator community. Usually I don't say that because I try to not speak, but yeah, I didn't receive a lot. So these ones are really, really, really accepted. Thank you, guys. That was it. We move and we speak about the victory of Juve. Or before we go with the results of today in Champions League: Copenhagen, Kairat 3-2, Pafos, Monaco. I watched the last 30 minutes. Pay attention to Pafos.
Yeah.
Huh? Pay attention to Pafos. They didn't give up for a single centimeter, and at the end they were able to draw 2-2. Monaco is not in their best of their form this season. It's true, they're starting to give up on some things, but Pafos impressed me. I never watched the team. I didn't even know that the Luis was playing with them. What is the name? Daniel Luis? David Luiz, ex-Chelsea. But pay attention. Arsenal, Bayern. Arsenal is unstoppable. 3-1. Yeah. I believe it's the first loss of Bayern this season. All competitions. I will keep the other one for the last. Frankfurt 0, Atalanta 3, Liverpool another surprising loss 4-1 against PSV. You see, at the end, we were out against a super team. Huh? Olympiacos 3, Real Madrid 4 with a super informed Kylian Mbappe. Paris Saint-Germain 5, Tottenham 3 with the rebirth of the one that I'm missing every single day. Kolo Muani, show me the money. Sporting 3, Club Brugge 0, and then we keep the last one for the last. Atletico Madrid at the 93rd minute 2, Inter 1. It's always nice to see them losing.
Yes.
So that's a slew of wins for us, right? Beppe, Juve, I guess Atletico Madrid beating Inter. So we're all in good moods today, folks. I think this is the first time in maybe since we did the Inter episode that we're all in good moods.
Could be. Let me say hello also to the chat, to Bogdan that is always there, to Bianconeri, Tim, Davide 7337, grande, just grandissimo Nino Sport, thank you my friend, Pratam, Andy Big Lips that I had the opportunity to meet in Miami, ciao Fabione, ciao Mas, ciao Gianni P1241, Beppe, make it make sense. I'm watching the Atletico Madrid game right now and Nico Gonzalez playing amazing. He's all over the pitch, making an impact. I didn't watch the game, to be totally honest, because I am in I have a new hobby. I'm watching Ippo the Challenger manga together with my son. Did you ever saw that one? Ippo the Challenger?
I have not.
You are not in mangas, guys, or in animes?
My child is too young, so right now it's either like National Geographic, so he can look at big animals, or no TV.
That's a start. I'm watching. My son is nearly 18, so I'm watching that. So I didn't watch the second game. I really wanted that, but then he said that we continue. I continued. It's boxing, and it's really nice. So I was obliged to finish the episode that we were watching before starting. So I didn't watch the games. So we won 2-3. How did you feel during the game? How did you feel when we concede that penalty?
So Zach, you indicated that we're all in good moods today. And I think immediately following the game, I wasn't in a good mood. I think the feelings of frustration were still the dominant feeling that I was experiencing. It took me until this morning, I think, to truly appreciate that we did turn it around. A lot of good things happened in the second half, despite Cabal's penalty. And maybe there's something for us to get a little bit excited about, because you had Kenan, just absolute star. You had Spalletti, I think, be a little bit humble, understand that he needed to make changes and really put his stamp on the second half. You have Openda and David being able to break their goal kind of drought. So a lot of good things happened, but I think the struggles of that first half of Juventus going to the edge of the world, playing on a plastic pitch, getting manhandled and bossed around by that team, was just so much to take in that moment. I struggled. I was pleased for the victory afterwards, but the anger, I think, was still kind of percolating.
I'm still angry.
No, listening to these, look, I got a bone to pick with these guys because I was at my in-laws. I could not be on our post-game episode, but I did listen to it when I could, and it was just a bunch of negativity. I mean, if winning's the only thing that matters, folks, why can't we at least be a little bit more happy than mad? It's just a bunch of angry old men on that podcast. Come on, guys. We won for the first time in a long time. We won against a team that at home dominated Monaco and Tottenham. Okay, we did not get dominated nearly to the level that those teams did, and I would say that we even really didn't get dominated. I'd say more in that first half it was our inability to connect passes, not anything that Bodo did. In fact, I think when we actually started to play, we started to play really, really, really well in a way that was fun and exciting to watch. So I'm a little bone to pick with the two gentlemen to, I guess, the right of my screen for the negativity.
You are right. We were, Frederic, we were negative yesterday.
I'm still negative. I'm still negative. I don't care.
Can we
Maybe
I'm still
after the
negative.
corner.
Frederick, can we timestamp just or bookmark for 1 second? A week ago today, you
Yeah,
came and you spoke to
of
all of
course.
the kind
Yes,
people on this. There's the same exact panel here, and
I
all the
did.
kind,
Yes,
lovely people on the chat that I'm looking at. And he
I
said,
did.
"I'm Mr. Optimistic. I'm Mr.
Yes,
Happy. Everything is rosy in the world." Okay,
but
now I cede the floor
that
to you, Frederick.
that was before I saw my team putting a performance of the likes they put in yesterday. I expected a loss, but there's a loss and there's a loss. And the way that we won yesterday was due to nobody else but Kenan Yildiz.
There's a
That's it.
loss that we lost. There's a loss and a loss, but the win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we won. I'm happy for the 3 points. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy because this keeps us alive with regards to qualification. But if you envision a turning point of a team and you can say, okay, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. This is the moment that everybody in the squad stood up for everybody else and who and it made a difference. And this is the moment where we pick ourselves up and we're down for the battle and we can see 11 hungry players with a bit of intelligence, a bit of passion, a bit of fire. Then I'd be happy, I'd be ecstatic, I'd be all over the moon. But I just saw somebody coming in at halftime deciding he was a bit angry because he didn't start and came in with a mentality, I'm going to show him. And he did. And that's what contributed to our win yesterday. Let's not forget, a couple of minutes before that, we scored the win. We were close to receiving another goal. And these are the things that frustrate me. Like, it's not how we lose or win or draw. And I'll give you, the importance of winning is very, 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 very high, especially at this point. But I mean, the performance yesterday was, yeah, lackluster. I have no other words for it apart from our good boy Kenan.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy because it's an entire week that I received strange messages of Beppe. I don't understand if Frederic was ironic. I don't know why is he changing opinion like that, and why is he optimistic. Beppe, I can't believe it. It's an entire week. I promise you, it's true that I received DMs where people they don't understand it. So I'm happy that you are negative again, so that everything is again in the
Yes.
right place.
Balance
On
has
the other
been
side,
restored to the universe.
I agree.
The universe is in balance again. Yes.
on the other side, the only week where you were positive, we won at the end. How? I don't know, but we won. So maybe Frederic being positive brings us victories. Could
I'll
be,
give you. Can I give you? Can I borrow the mic and give you an alternative theory, Beppe?
yeah.
Okay, because I think we've talked a couple times, certainly after the Inter episode, about my brother, who is a new Juventus fan. Through
Oh yeah,
the joint content that we have created, and he came over, watched the Inter game with me in person. He's been hooked ever since. Well, yesterday he welcomed the birth of his first child, a little girl, and
congratulations.
he watched
Congratulations.
the game with her. So now I told him, I texted him, I said, now you guys know what you're going to do for every single game going forward. You better watch it together. In fact, I'm going to go bring over, I've got a couple Juve onesies. I'm like, she's got to be kitted and we're going to be good to go. So I'm at least going to do my groundwork, Beppe.
Lucky charm. But I want to say this, though. I want to say this. There's a difference with me talking about the future, especially in terms of management, finances, transfers, and the immediate future, as in our next game. And the immediate future, you can only change by A, winning, and B, playing decent football. And if one of both is missing, then I'm not as positive anymore because I feel, especially against a team like BODO GLIMT, and granted, it was the Arctic Circle, conditions were terrible. They're very strong at home and what have you, but this wasn't Real Madrid. So I just expected some sort of reaction from the team, especially after Fiorentina. And then to see that first half going the way it went, that really frustrated me, to be honest. So it's a bit of a mixed bag in that respect.
No, but I totally understand. I was pissed off with After first 45 minutes, I was extremely angry. I will share with you in a second why, but I think that it was obvious for everyone except of Conceição in that first half. It was extremely poor, and I understand all the conditions. But if it was, like one particular game, like an isolated case, I would tell you, oh, we are not used to the cold, we are not used to the air, to the whatever you. But the problem is that it's not the first game. Yesterday it was just even more amplified, even more exposed. And don't tell me, because I see Mikel, but I heard also you talking, Fred, about Kenan Yildiz. It's true that he's entering, is changing the game, but he's not the only one. When you see how the team entered the second half, we really have a problem, because I don't say that they are now superstars, and with the performances of the second half, we can win the Champions League. Far from. But with the attitude, how on earth is it possible that you have like day and night attitude? I'm not speaking even about performance, but attitude of the second half, how you enter and how you enter that first half. Again, this time it was not Cambiaso, this time it was Adzic, but again, in the first 20 seconds, you miss a control and you are putting them in the goal. I have a lot of things to say about first and second half, but first, let me say thank you to Benedetto Reitano that became a new member and saying, calma, guys, let's wait the next 5 games that are important. Cagliari, Udinese, Napoli, Pafos, Bologna, and then Roma, even in that order, I think. Thank you, my friend. Greetings. Have you noticed that Juve is becoming a therapy association? Every week we talk about player fragility, sensitivity. I miss Vidal partying. Vidal.
He's still partying. He's still partying. He never stopped. Vidal's still partying. No worries there. No worries.
Look,
but it's right.
I give you a bit. Well, Sam is giving us a fantastic assist, because I will read you a part of the post game of Spalletti, and I want you guys to tell me what you think about these words. So he's saying at the end of the press conference, what does Juve need, or what do Juve need at the moment? He's saying, look, we are in a moment of difficulty in all senses. It's a 360-degree difficulty, but then we see that the team is not able to play with freedom. They don't have courage. They don't have a lot of courage. They suffer the conditions that we are in, with that they feel that obligation to win, and they also suffer what people are saying about the team, what people are saying about them, what is written in the papers. This victory becomes fundamental. Now I am on them. I am on top of these problems. We must be the one of the second half. We already showed that we can be these ones. And then he continues to say, but in these moments now, the players, they must grow on the field and mentally. What did you take from that one? I have my personal take. I will tell you later.
I think it was both an indictment as well as a call to action, because we talked about it after a tutor was filed, and we saw them during the Brambilla Ball episode. We were just talking about how free this team was playing, with the energy and with the attacking spirit, and sort of with the teamwork and cohesion and stuff. And I remember you saying, Beppe, that it made you mad, because these players could have been doing that all along, but they didn't. And so I think Spalletti's rightfully calling out that these are players with ability that are not showing it on the pitch with the regularity that we need them to, or that's expected of them as Juventus players. But now he's drawn a line in the sand that says that second half against Bodo, that is where we start, and we're going to go up from there. And so I think that on one hand was the indictment, looking back and saying, you guys haven't been good enough. Now we have a barometer by which we can grow. That's a call to action to go forward. And ultimately, as people in the chats, that's what we're all going to be looking to them to do. We've been burned too many times with turning point games. It's now to the team to show us that they can maintain that level of play for a series of games, not just moments.
And I'll be curious to see what he can do as the coach to help them stay in that mindset. Because my takeaway from that, Zach, is that he recognizes he has a bunch of mentally weak players, and these players have ability. And I think if we're playing to our potential, we should be better than we are. I'm not trying to compare this squad or team to the 9 consecutive title winning squads, but we're better than I think how we've been playing and where we're in the Serie A standings. But whatever he did at halftime, however the players were able to shed that first half performance and come out and play in this way, how do we keep that going? And because you don't just go from mentally weak to mentally strong overnight, right? Like that's not something that just changes. That's hard. And if they're feeling the pressure of the shirt, they're reading all the social media stuff, they feel the pressure of what's going on outside of the locker room, they are mentally weak. They're struggling with what it means to represent this team. And I'll be really curious with how Spalletti manages that. And if there's any players that are able to turn the corner and really step up and take ownership of it. We've seen Dusan do it occasionally, but with one game on, 3 or 4 games off, and he's not somebody we can rely on this season. There haven't been many players that have been able to show it consistently.
I think he felt a bit betrayed as well. It was clear that he gave other people a chance to start this game and was hoping for a quick turnaround or maybe a difference in mentality or hunger or whatever you want to call it. And they didn't show it, at least not the first 45 minutes. And I think he felt a bit betrayed by that, and the fact that he was expecting more of the squad as a whole. I think he was very disappointed, and I think that not just the Kenan sub, but the way he coached in general. I don't know if you guys noticed, but he was very wait and see in the first half until up about the 30th minute. Then if the camera zoomed in, you could tell that he was very, very nervous and frustrated, rightfully so. And he kept.
I'm not even sure if you wait until the 30th minute, because did you notice that at the first missed pass from Adzic, he started yelling as crazy in the first seconds?
Oh,
Then
yeah.
you see that
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
immediately. Yeah.
So I think he was disappointed there, and he took that a bit personal. I think because I'm confident. I still am. I trust Spalletti to turn things around, but I'm confident in the fact that he is doing everything he can in order to get that quick turnaround of mentality and even of performance. But if you then see that when the moment has arrived that the players need to do their part and they just won't for any reason, then it's very frustrating. And this is a pattern that repeats itself. So it's not only the coach. Far from it.
Now, what I take from these words, I was, when we were saying we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel and these kind of things. Look, it was quite difficult. It is quite difficult for Juventini at the moment because we are not winning since years now. We still can't do like 3, 4, 5 win in a row and competing for something big. But when Spalletti arrives, he can try to solve million things, but without understanding what is the real problem. You can try to solve the first, the second, the third, and maybe it will address some things, but it will not address the big problem. Sometimes you're lucky, yeah? Sometimes you're lucky and you're able by coincidence to solve the big problem immediately, but that's not always the case. Him being aware and also publicly calling it out, I think that will give us a huge, big acceleration, because this is what we fans are saying since long, but also Tudor, also Thiago Motta in a way. And I will even go back to Chiellini and Allegri when the Allegri came back, that return against Empoli, where we lose 1-0, where he's watching Chiellini and Chiellini is telling him, Questi siamo, this is what we are, because it was not anymore the team that Allegri knew in his first spell. So it's really long time ago that we are not really incarnating Juve, and years and years and years that Juve spirit is fading away. So him calling out that it's a team that has no courage, but pay attention. I identified it, but now I am on top of it. And yesterday, what Frederic says as well, what I saw and what I enjoyed was a Spalletti that was watching the game and not his feet. Maybe because he doesn't like the artificial field. Maybe that's why he didn't look on the ground. But he was looking at the game and he was screaming and yelling and he was playing like PlayStation, because these players, unfortunately, at the moment, they need a real leader. If we have no on the field, you need someone on the bench that is able to do that. And that's super important. Then, to answer a comment that I watched here from Mikel, that is saying, but the teams in Serie A do not play as naively as BODO. Next match in Serie A, it will be back with 3 men on Yildiz. It's true. I think as well that yesterday BODO lost because we are not Juve anymore. If we were Juve, probably BODO would have been happy with that 2-2. But they attacked to come back on a 2-2. And when they had a 2-2, they really believed, and they were about to do it, to winning 3-2. So hopefully soon we can go again against teams that are not going crazy and wanting to push until the end. On that one, I kind of agree with Mikel. So here we need to pay really attention, because in Serie A, it's different. Yesterday, the spaces that Yildiz received from BODO were totally different than we will see in Serie A. That's a fact.
The space he had was crazy. They just wide open pitch for him to run at defenders one-on-one. It was baffling for me to see, because I don't think I've ever seen him with that much space, and I don't think he'll see that much space again for the rest of the season, if not the rest of his career. It was crazy, but at the same time, this is a team that went toe-to-toe and has gone toe-to-toe with other teams in the Champions League. So oftentimes when we win games, it's like, well, we weren't playing the best version of this team, or well, this was it. They might have been a little bit too optimistic at the end, but this is not a bad team. I mean, Patrick Bird,
no, it's not
one
a bad team.
player outplayed every midfielder that we threw on the pitch. I mean, this is their keeper. I hope Di Gregorio is taking notes. I mean, this is a good team, right?
The goalkeeper, when they were speaking about Buffon posters in their rooms, and the sporting director, a big fan of Juve. Yesterday, I believe that the goalkeeper really honored. I tried to investigate that, but I spoke with people that are watching Norwegian league, and they told me that yesterday was a phenomenal, but this is not week in, week out, the performance that he's delivering. So, but that's maybe a question for Fred and Kevin. A lot of time we see these kind of prime Buffon against Juve. Is it because we need to do better, or because really they transform themselves?
It's a bit of both, I think.
Yeah.
It's a bit of both. I mean, you play against Juve as a smaller team. It's Juve still, you're, if you look at it from a European perspective, still a fairly big name. And if they come to your home pitch and you have a chance to prove yourself against them, then it boosts motivation tenfold. Then if you see the way that we try to finish off our chances, it helps you, because I think 80% of the chances or the shots on goal that we have are not, unstoppable for any keeper. So if you start the right way and you pull out a good save against Juventus on your home pitch, and you get that boost, obviously. And also, the flip side is we don't create as many chances as we used to. By chance, I was looking at our, I think it was 2004, our game against Club Brugge in the Champions League in Bruges, and not the movie, but the game. And,
Great movie, though.
Yeah, fantastic
great movie.
by the
Great
way.
movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
You
But
know
let's
that
not go there.
I'm probably the only person on earth that didn't watch the movie yet.
Oh, you got to see it, Beppe. You got.
And
it's
I
fantastic.
know that everyone tells me it's a really great movie. So
It's
you
a really
watch.
good one. You should take time to watch it. But and you could see it was a different team, of course, but um, it was a comparable situation in the fact that Bruges were hosts to Juventus. Juventus was a big name. Bruges was the underdog, and they went above and beyond to try and prevent us from scoring, and it worked for a fair bit of the time. But then the unstoppable force that was Trezeguet and Nedved came into play, and we kept on creating chance after chance after chance,
The
and
goalkeeper was a beast that day, from Bruges.
Stain, yes, he was. So I mean, it's a combination of two things, and I just hope that Di Gregorio or Perin will get the chance to go into God mode, because that's what I miss. Like our keepers winning points for us in those particular matches, because at times we are the underdog as well.
Real quickly, you said we don't create as much as we used to. 23 shots, 16 on target. You
Shots.
know,
Yeah, but statistics. I mean, if I roll the ball with the inside of my foot onto the goal, then it counts as a shot as well. I mean, we have to be a bit more realistic. The
I
shots.
understand, but let's think about the game yesterday. There were
Yesterday he
legit.
did
I
some
mean,
good
there were
saves.
legitimate
Yeah, but I'm
chances,
talking
and
in general. I mean, in general, we don't create that much. We don't create that much. Let's be honest. Because if we were to create that much, or at least half of what we created in the good old days, then we'd have do some with at least 5 to 6 more goals. Even though
Oh, but
he's
look at the Torino game and the Fiorentina game. Torino was a
yeah,
disaster. Fiorentina, the first shot on target is at the 51st minute.
And how many times have we said that over the last 2 years, not seeing the first shot on target until 50, 60, 70th minute at times, or some looping header off of Koopmeiners was the first shot on target in one of the matches. I don't remember what that was,
yeah,
but it came in
true.
like the 78th minute. Do you think speaking of goalkeepers, the Perrin stepping in, just rotation
But
means
but
something?
I want immediately to answer that one. I don't think that yesterday it was at fault on that first goal that we concede, but I can guarantee you that if it was Di Gregorio into the goal, today would have been overhated for the goal that we conceded yesterday. I'm sure about that. Even if I don't think that he was that much at fault, we see it clearly. The one that scored Blomberg comes out of nowhere, totally unmarked. Then he even put his foot there, where I think he's even deflecting that ball.
he does.
So he's touching it. But I'm sure that if it was Di Gregorio, he would have been hated on the goal that we concede. I don't. If I answer your question, I don't see in Perin enough for me to change. I'm not against changing goalkeeper, but I don't see in Perin enough to tell me, okay, let's put Perin because he's 3 levels above Di Gregorio.
Frederick's face. He's on mute, but his face
If
is
if
getting red.
if we could merge them into one goalkeeper, we wouldn't even have half Buffon.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know I get a lot of hate for my love for Michele Di Gregorio, but time and time again, if you look at it, and that's the frustrating part for me. A goalkeeper is there to win you points at some. I'm not saying that every game you should be in God mode and parry everything that comes your way, but there are certain points, certain turning points in the season where you as a goalkeeper are very important to your team, where you parrying a shot, good enough or not, is gonna be the the difference
Benedetto
between
is
winning and
not
a loss.
wrong, huh? It's not wrong. I just wanted to put it there.
In my comparison with Buffon.
No, with
Oh
him Buffon, with our strikers that are not Trezeguet, that Benedetto is saying,
no,
if we compare with the past, then oh.
yeah, but in the past we also had the Giuliano, Tacchinardi, Pesotto, who were not, the world's best players, but they were every game. You could rinse out their shirts of the sweat and the blood that they collected on the field. This is the thing that's missing: the mentality, the hunger, the passion. For me, This is something you can have top players, you can have qualitatively very good players like a Kenan Yildiz, like a Del Piero, like a Nedved, but they also had these workers, these guys that recuperated balls for them, just played them in, just ran and covered, space, and if you're not a technically gifted player or not, some wonder kid, and you can't compensate with being one of the most hardworking ones on the pitch or one of the most clever ones, then there's not much you can do. There's not much you could do in a professional level, in my opinion.
But just looking with our blinders on, if we're talking goalkeepers, okay, you're all the old goalkeepers of Juventus past, they're not playing. We're looking at really two options, right? Do you start Perin or do you start Di Gregorio? And I think you say, okay, you start Di Gregorio if you want. You'd say, what does everyone say, right? He's better with his feet, right? Perin's a better shot stopper. I think when you analyze the type of goals we're letting in and how we're playing, I don't think we're getting a ton of value from Di Gregorio being marginally better with his feet. I think the problem is we need a goalkeeper who can shot stop and have those moments like Perin at the very end of the Leipzig game last year, where he stood on his head and he made key saves.
Yeah, but we
know that.
What was that match, the other Champions League match that we lost in the final moments? Was it Stuttgart at home?
Yeah.
When he had like 13 saves. I know that number's not correct, but he was out of his mind.
He was our player of the match that game despite losing. And we know Di Gregorio struggles in the air. We concede a goal. Granted, I don't think that was Perin's fault yesterday. Moretti lost his guy, but I don't question Perin's aerial presence and command of the box as much as I do Di Gregorio's. So Colo asks in the chat, who do you start in the next match? I think for me, you start the keeper that gives you the best chance of victory. And right now, I think that's Perin. His shot stopping ability is better. His command of it and his aerial presence, despite not being the tallest guy in the world, is better than Di Gregorio, who's very uncertain in the box, it seems, when coming out for crosses and challenging forwards.
But do we look for a new one? That's the question.
Well, you just changed the question. The question
we can't do anything about that right now, and there's no way that's going to happen in the January mercato.
You never know. You never know. I mean, it is a given. It is a consequence. It is something that is costing your team points, no matter how you twist and turn it. No matter how, like the Fiorentina game, if you freeze the images, he does this. I mean, you can't see it on screen, but he, his hand is right here, and he goes like,
Look.
I'm not saying he would have saved it, but
the Fiorentina thing, he misses the one, and it sort of bounces off his chest, and he has to recover. Yeah, that's kind of ugly. No harm, no foul. I think another thing to think about, like those moments, Frederic, you got to look at practice. His aerial presence. I don't think anyone will convince me that his aerial presence is domineering or that he has good command of his area. You guys have been to games. How is his marshaling of the defense and communication with the defense in front of him? Kevin.
Non-existent.
Kevin, I think you went to more recently. How is Di Gregorio's communication with them?
He's a non-verbal goalkeeper.
And so these are general practices that make me concerned. I don't think he's a bad keeper, and I don't think he doesn't have the potential or anything like that, dramatic. But right now, in order to win, you take the keeper that's got the better intangibles and skill set and form. And for me, Di Gregorio's showing too many flaws. I say give Perin a run of games.
Yeah. I mean, we have to, and there's a lot of other people in other positions that we need to look into. I'm not saying that we need to, switch up players or whatever, but, yesterday again made it very apparent that we are not at all clicking in midfield. And that should be, in my opinion, number one priority. I think we need a center midfielder as soon as possible.
It bears repeating, and I know we're switching to center midfields, but it bears repeating that Patrick Berg was better than all four midfielders we played yesterday.
Can we stay in the center midfield? I want to go into a topic which I think will get heated. I feel like if we were to go back through the chat here, like every fifth comment is bashing Locatelli. I'd like to bring up the Locatelli topic. Can we take a deep breath and get into this?
Well, we can. I will say that Transfer Market, it has Patrick Berg at €6 million. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. Feel free to contribute.
No,
But go ahead, Kevin.
I thought Bird played well, and we talked about him last night.
Yeah, I think that's what I said
stream.
yesterday. Like I got some hate in the chat because I said pay him 5 million, and somebody responded that like, oh, you won't give Kane and Yildiz?
You meant the 5 million
transfer
fee,
the transfer fee,
not
of
5
course,
million
of
a
course.
year.
No, not salary. So,
but let's have the Locatelli discussion. And so I know for people watching and listening,
I heard Locatelli. I said I will enter again.
We summoned you back. So
we didn't
Frederic,
speak about Adzic yet, right?
No, not yet.
No.
Yet. We'll save that one. So Frederic has been very vocally kind of anti-Locatelli, and I have been more on the pro Locatelli, and I want to make my case, but I have to give it a qualifier. I know he does not stand up to Pirlo, Marquisio, Pogba, Vidal, Pjanic, Khedira. I know he's not of that echelon, but this is the Juve that we have. And if you were to put Locatelli into a midfield with two of those aforementioned 5 or 6 players, I truly believe Locatelli shines. The challenge that Locatelli has had over the last 4 seasons is that he doesn't have anybody next to him. There's nobody complimenting him. We expect him to do everything. We expect him to collect the ball and be defensive. We expect him to connect the defense to the forwards. We expect him to be a fantasista and put in the assists and to get more goals. We expect him to do everything when he doesn't have a partner. Thuram has been a disaster for the most of this year. We were riding him high at the end of last year. He's completely disappeared. We have Koopmeiners, who's now settling into a back 3, who's been able to play in the midfield. You have McKennie, who's playing every other position other than the one that he's naturally suited for. There's nobody there for him. He is number 1 in the top 5 European leagues for completed forward passes. He's near top of the league in defensive moves. His passing completion percentage is 89, 90%. Most games he's getting 100 touches or more. When he comes out, the midfield, a relatively poor midfield, doesn't work, right? You put Locatelli in with Barella and Çalhanoğlu, he's performing to an amazing standard. Like you put him in the last Italy match that he was in with Barella and Tonali, he played well because he has complementary players next to him. So look, it's something I've just been needing to get off my chest because there is so much, I think, Locatelli hate. And again, I'm not saying he's the best Juventino that we've seen, but I know he bleeds black and white. He might not have maybe the leadership abilities that everybody expects him to have wearing the armband, but he's not nearly as bad as the negativity that gets thrown his way.
I'm a simple man, and I feel that every midfielder should contribute to goals and or assists in some way or some fashion. I believe in a defensive midfielder, but I think every team should have maximum one of them. I think the very definition of a midfielder is somebody who is very into touch with both the offensive work and the defensive work. And I think for a team like Juventus or any team that needs or wants to win, the deciding factor is always the midfield in terms of creating chances, scoring, or handing out assists. And we can talk all day about the statistics, and I grant that. I mean, Locatelli's statistics are far from bad, but if you see what he contributes offensively, it's just too little, too late, in my opinion. And I think if we just compare it with the things that other midfielders do that aren't necessarily as good as him statistic-wise, like a Patrick Berg, for instance, I don't know. I think our whole midfield needs to be scrapped and reformed. It's just not clicking. It's just not working. I don't think it's it's a good solution to replace them like cogwheels in a machine. I think we need to really focus on rejuvenating that midfield in some way or fashion because it's just not clicking, in my opinion.
I completely agree. The whole midfield is poor, but you put him in a 3-man midfield with complementary players who are above average.
Vitinha.
He's a bit more above average, but
it seems weird. It seems weird. It seems weird. Like no one here of the four of us are going to dispute that our midfield has really struggled. A lot of the goals we've conceded have been breakdowns in the midfield or the midfielders who are missing their marks, like yesterday with Moretti on the corner kick. There's no question that we also have depth in the midfield. So no one is questioning that. It just seems really weird that we would consistently attack who has been objectively the best midfielder that we've had this year. Is he one of the greatest? Is he one of the greatest Juventus midfielders of all time? No. But he's like Kevin said, he's legitimately, and you see it on the pitch, he's legitimately top 5 in almost every defensive category and every passing category. Like, he's doing his job. Point to another midfielder on this team that does their job. Whatever that job is, none of them do. Thuram has let us down after the first 2 games. Adzic is a young kid, and we're going to talk to him in a second. You give him some leash. Hasn't done it. Moretti had not a lot of game time yet. Hasn't done it. McKennie is useless in the middle of the pitch. Has to stay wide. It just seems weird attacking Locatelli when he has been our best midfielder. Is that maybe representative of where this Juventus team is and where we need to change? Maybe. But why are we hating on that guy, right?
I think it's a frustration because he is indeed one of the best. And him being at his best, he's still an average player. And I think that's the frustration. This is not a world-class player. You can't convince me otherwise. This is not a world-class player.
But that your frustration isn't with him. It's with the people who built the team. If he's an average player playing to the max of his average capabilities, then he's doing his job as best as we could all expect him to.
Look, if you judge him on progression, defensive output, and just doing the hard, unglamorous work,
my prediction is that in 10 games,
6.
Locatelli is on the bench and Koopmeiners is a starting midfielder. I agree with Mitch.
Say that one more time, Beppe.
My prediction is that in max 10 games, we see Locatelli on the bench and Koopmeiners starting the games. I have always defended Locatelli, but for the first season, I think that he will not play a lot with Spalletti. And not because of La Nazionale, but because he's just not a Spalletti player.
If Koopmeiners can legitimately prove that he can do that job better and raise the level of play of the comprehensive midfield and the players around him, like, let him earn it. But I haven't seen anything over the last season and a half that he can step into that role.
Agreed.
I don't know if he will succeed or not, but I can tell you that Locatelli is not a Spalletti player. He's too slow. He thinks too much.
Koopmeiners isn't.
He doesn't take. No, Koopmeiners is not. From what we saw in 3 years at Atalanta, Koopmeiners had an extremely poor disaster. Let's call it like that. Disaster first season at Juve. He didn't start well this season either. He's starting to build again his mental strength with a coach that is trusting him, playing him. And I see a Koop yesterday again that is doing great things. I'm not saying good things. I'm saying great things.
I agree with that for sure.
Where he's a bit less exposed at the moment, where he's playing safe card, but he's doing one game after the other. Yes, he was also beaten by Moiskin against Fiorentina, and we saw that. But at the moment, he's not losing his concentration. And it's not about Koop is better or not. What I saw Koop doing in certain moments are things that Locatelli cannot do. That precision of long pass without thinking too much, building up, commanding. The problem is that the players are not listening to him yet, but commanding, asking, that non-verbal. I saw things that he is much more a Spalletti player than Locatelli will ever be. It's not a hate on Locatelli because I am one of the first one here, and people know, the loyal ones, how much I defended. Stats, no stats. I will never put his work load and work ethic into Dow, because he's one of the guys that is really giving everything for the team. He will do that last tackle, even if his life is depending on it. This is something that is good to see. So no, hate is exaggerated, but on the other side, I really don't see him as a Spalletti player. No, I at the first opportunity, Spalletti is putting him on the bench. At the moment, he can't.
Why would you change what isn't broken with this team?
Because
Koopmeiner and Locatelli
I think that
aren't
Locatelli is
broken.
I
It's the
think that
people around them.
Locatelli no. I really think that Locatelli is one of the major factor why we are not yet at the moment doing what Spalletti is asking 100%.
So
That's what I
you'd put
believe.
the Locatelli change over the fact
Because it's a
that bar
style of
yesterday
play.
we don't score goals.
Because it's a style of play. Because it's an attitude. Because it's not taking risk first. It's a first thinking back. It's a more defensive qualities first, and where you run into the pitch, he will never do in terms of runs the one up front, but he will go behind, which Spalletti is absolutely not expecting. I really think, and it's not about Locatelli being bad, not bad, what he gives or not give. I really think that is not matching at all the idea of football of Spalletti from what we saw in the past, what he's expecting. I don't think that Locatelli is the worst player of Juve or whatever. I really think that he will not match in football idea.
But those are two different things, though.
Yeah,
like it's hard for me to challenge that. Like I agree. If you're looking for a certain set of characteristics in that position,
if you see Miretti is at the moment not at the level of Locatelli. He has a lot of things to prove, but just the velocity of the one-touch passes and that idea of always playing in triangles. This is more a Spalletti player. I don't know if he will have enough qualities, mental strength, because this is something that Locatelli has much more than a Miretti. Miretti is 22 and needs to decide what he's doing with his career. Because we are always treating him like a next-gen player, which is not anymore because he's 22. If we are comparing with some names that you were mentioning earlier, Vitinha, they are the same age. So at a certain moment, he needs to step up. But if we are totally honest, in idea, Miretti is much more what Spalletti likes.
If the coach doesn't rate a player, that there's nothing you can do about it, right? I think at the end of the day, you look at what contributions that Locatelli has. One of the biggest things that I don't think any of us are going to question is a lack of creativity in our midfield, right? And let's be clear, Locatelli is not necessarily going to bring that creative spark to your midfield. We know that. But one thing he does do that literally nobody else on our team does, especially Koopmeiners when he's been playing in midfield, is utilize the long ball to distribute and bypass other presses and release players, and we have a ton of players who are really good on the release. David, Openda, Conceição, Yildiz. He is the only player on our team that does that. In fact, those long balls almost set up most of our creative chances.
Hence what I started at the beginning saying, he has the number 1 completed forward passes in all of Europe's top 5 leagues. So the comment I see here in the chat, and Fyodor Kafka, nothing against you, but the always playing horizontal is this myth.
That was Koop in the
like
midfield.
Something that we tell ourselves that he does, but that's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, the number 1 passes in Serie A into the final third, Locatelli.
Yeah.
No, tied for second progressive passes. This is not a negative player. And if you had players who could cut through the middle with little quick give and goes, I'd say sit Locatelli. Let's get those guys in. We don't have them. The only person we have is Locatelli because Thuram has disappeared and we have nobody else.
Yeah.
So
and
we have to use what we have.
To close kind of my position on this, Beppe completely agreed that Locatelli is is not in the style of your star midfielder that Spalletti is looking for in his style of play. Just the point I wanted to emphasize is that for all the challenges that this squad has had, not just this season, but in past seasons, there's been, I think, a relatively unfair amount of criticism We're using him as the butt of a joke. I won't say hate. I know no one here hates him, so I'm sorry.
No,
that
no, there was
we use
hate.
that.
He has been whistled in our own stadium, which I was
Oh no, yeah,
totally against
there's hate against him, Kevin.
in a family
Well,
game.
Not the people here, not the good people here in the chat. I did not mean to use that word, but it's. I think it's just not justified.
He also contributes.
That's the point.
He contributes to that criticism himself too. Not just in the style of play, but he's often asked for interviews, and every time it's the same thing. Well, we didn't play Juve worthy. Well, we didn't do this, but we have to look ahead in the next game. We're working hard. We're doing this. We're doing that. And at a certain point, it gets tiresome. I mean, you're the captain. If you feel that the squad is not up to par, or sub-performing, or whatever the issue is, then you need to address it, and not just in the media, but we also need to see it on the pitch. And I think that's what's missing, because you see somebody in the central midfield wearing the captain's armband and doesn't provide the spark that is needed on the pitch for the other players to thrive. And I think this is not doing him any favors as well. I think you need somebody with a certain personality, somebody with a certain level of experience, intelligence, and even what's the famous fashion word now, aura, in that midfield to orchestrate that movement that you need, that spark. And the fact that he doesn't seem to portray that or embody that in some way or fashion is something that works against him, I think.
Not going to disagree, Frederic, but I think it comes back down to Locatelli is not Moretti. He's not 22. He is who he is, and he is who he has been. It's like expecting him to be someone who he's not is unfair to him. We want him to be better. We want him to be more.
Can I interrupt and launch the last topic that will last 10 minutes and then we close?
Zip.
Was the BODO GLIMT victory the turning point?
No.
Yes or no answer? No.
Otherwise, we do like, I didn't say 10 seconds. I said 10 minutes.
No, absolutely not.
We can't tell. Well, we'll know it's the turning point if we put a string of victories together. Then we'll know that was a defining moment. Right now, it's just a win we should be happy with.
I think it's a different win. I think it's a different win than Leipzig, Inter. I think it's a real different win. To me, it's a different win. That doesn't mean that now we will go with 10 against 10.
Yeah, I don't see that at all.
Because Leipzig and Inter, remontada wins and last minute, they came in a moment where the team was last year with Thiago Motta still not losing. We were in a beautiful moment. This season, it arrived at the third game where we just came from 2 victories. So it was in an ideal, beautiful moment where the team was following the coach, where everything was great and beautiful. This win yesterday in a difficult field, after everything what happened already this season, but also last season, I really believe that it's a different win also with 2 scorers, because we didn't speak about them, but Open Dutch, Nathan David, that finally scored, unlocked themselves. I'm happy that they did it both.
And McKennie to some extent, right?
Yeah, but McKennie, I don't care. I mean, no, but I really don't care about McKennie. He already scored. And look, you know why I said I don't care? Because he doesn't care. He is the most immune player to changing roles, to doing a bad performance, to do whatever. The guy is immune to criticism, to everything. That's the only thing. He doesn't care. If he plays bad tomorrow, he will be there smiling and he will play another game, and then he will do a fantastic game. Look at that first half. He was with Adzic and Miretti partially, but especially Adzic. It was the worst one. And then he has a mental shift like that first half never happened. So that goal of McKennie, I don't think that McKennie needs that goal. I really don't think so. It will not change anything to McKennie. It will change a lot for Open and Jonathan David.
That's a really good analysis.
No, but really,
it's well said about McKennie's mentality.
Then there is something that me as a Juventino, as a supporter, do not appreciate, but I know McKennie since day one, and he already spoke about it in documentaries, in interviews. So it's his personality. But I don't like when you are doing it 0-0 against Torino or 1-1 against Fiorentina. The day after, you are doing happy dances and everything is fine and well, because at Juve, this is not the standard. But he explained it in some interviews in the past, in some documentaries, where he's saying, look, this is extremely strange to me, to my culture, to my way of living life, where I'm a guy that I lose. Of course, I'm not happy, but then I can digest it extremely fast. And then it's another day and we go back with a smile, which is not appreciated. And I think that at Juve, you need to pay attention the day after, especially if you are in public cameras, to pay attention to the attitude that you show against a draw, because a draw is a loss for Juve. But that being said, going back to the initial discussion, what did I say? What was the point, actually?
You said it was a turning point, and we want to
you
know.
said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think that it's a turning point for the player that scored, for the way that it arrived in a difficult moment. I really believe that this can be not a turning point to be a Scudetto team, to win the Champions League. This is not what I'm saying, but a turning point to Spalletti has understood, I think, a lot yesterday. This team is not made to manage a game. This team is not made to defend the game. This team is made to play. To play. And I believe that some choices of yesterday were extremely important in his starting lineup. Some mistakes he will not do anymore. I really think now that against Cagliari already we will see a four-man defense. And I believe that the team understood with that second half now that it's time to wake up. I saw also Spalletti on the bench, especially in the second half, that was totally different as what we saw him against Torino and Fiorentina. I really believe that this can be a turning point in a different Juve. Then will we win? I don't know, but a turning point.
And the fact that we all feel, and the media thinks so too, that he will switch to the four-man in the back, I think has made it very clear that the honeymoon period of Spalletti is over. I think
Yeah.
this was his initial idea of wait and see, and let me see what I can subtly change, and not be too heavy, not bring in Spalletti ball in, overnight, and see what I can do, or what I can tinker with. And then if it's not satisfactory in terms of results and playing style, then I have no choice but to get in. And that's what he literally said yesterday. I'm going to be on their asses right now. I'm going to guide them. I'm going to, coach them extensively throughout games, throughout practices, because they're not capable of doing it on their own. They're too weak. I think he literally said that mentally, if I translate quickly. So is that a negative thing? I see it as a positive thing, because Spalletti had time to basically see the issues that lie deeper than just the things that we see only on the pitch. And he decided to intervene. And you could see that a bit in the second half. And I think, like Zach said in the beginning of the pod, that this is now the benchmark, and he will do whatever he can to get that sort of performance and mentality out of the players, and not, hide behind that wait and see momentum, and, really firmly shape the team as he intends the team to be and to play as he envisions that. So I'm happy for that. Is it a turning point? I think we could speak about a turning point if we win 3 in a row, in my opinion. So for now, I say no.
I mean, look, we're being asked to predict. We can't just always rely on retroactive analysis, Frederic. I think why I say no is that we've been burned before, right? We had the Inter game last year, where the first Inter game where we came back, and granted it was a draw, but it's like, oh, Yildiz is online now. We had the Leipzig game last year. We had the City game last year. We had the second Inter game last year. We had Tudor arrive. We had Dortmund and Inter this year, and none of them were turning points. And we had the same discussion, Beppe. You can shake you.
I
finger. We had the
refuse.
same
I
discussion.
refuse. I always told and said, and I will repeat it. To me, last year, Inter, and when I was in Toronto, when I was in Miami or whatever, but especially in Toronto, I was about to kick the ass of some kid that said that was the most beautiful game of last season. Because a 4-4, you can never call it the most beautiful game. And I always said, these games, especially this season, Dortmund and Inter, and you can go back in the post-game videos, they are there, they are available. I said, don't believe. Yeah, of course, you win and it's beautiful and you need to celebrate a win. But I always said, pay attention because these games are actually revealing us that we are much more weaker. Even the win against Inter 4-3, I never believed. Actually, these were turning points in believing that we were stronger than we actually were.
I mean, I agree with that. I think from a narrative standpoint of the fan base, it's
this one is different. Believe me, Zach. This one is different. You need to believe.
Hey, look, in the Frederic and Zach eternal struggle, like Highlander style, there can only be one. We have the yin of the negative over there, the yang of the positive over here. I am going to be a little bit more reserved than normal and say that this is not a turning point because I have, well, I guess been hurt too many times in recent memory. So that is my stance.
But you're scared. That's the thing. You're scared to be hurt again.
Yeah, well, of course, Pepe. Of course. I've put myself out there, my heart out in my hands, and I've invited the care.
This old lady broke our hearts so many times, it's unbelievable.
But the old lady made you happy much more than any other Italian team could have ever
than
done.
any other woman for that matter. Good thing my wife's sleeping right now. Yeah. It is.
Kevin, when you need to leave, you leave. We are rounding up anyway. Maybe a really last point. Did you hear about the words of Rocky, not Rocky Balboa, but Rocky, the one that is managing the referees? You want to comment these ones? Because I lost it. I went totally crazy. I don't understand it.
It's business as usual. FEGC against Juventus. It doesn't surprise. Like if there was a referee and he would, because now it's a whole thing. They after a VAR decision, they need to get out the megaphones and explain why they chose this or that. If there's a referee that comes on the pitch and says not a penalty because I don't like the shirts or I don't like Juventus, I'm an Inter supporter, and he says that it wouldn't even surprise me. Like I'm at that point already. Yeah. It doesn't even surprise me, and we can go back and forth about the penalty or whatever. But the other issue, like Fiorentina, the chance, the racist chance against Vlahovic, I think against Chigrova as well. 20,000 euro fine. If this was Juventus,
what a joke! What a joke!
That's really bad.
We were. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Beppe, but the last time we had a fine, it was 180,000 euros from FIGC about the chance or something along those lines.
Italia with Lukaku, where Lukaku received for the really first time ever what was it? How do you say it in English? Absolution, la grazia. How do you say it in
absolution? Yeah.
Because otherwise he could not play, so they took away the against.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me anymore, and I think it will be a very long. This will happen for a couple of seasons because this is something that frustrates me as well. I think we as a club need to get a stance about the things that are happening right now, and we need to speak about it. And I'm not saying pointing fingers or threatening or whatever, but I think we need to make it clear that there are some things happening over the past couple of seasons that are just not acceptable. It's two different measures and two different stances that are being applied whenever it comes to Juventus. And I'm all for equality. I'm all for keeping racism out of football. I'm for whatever, but if something happens at an Inter game, if something happens at a Juve game, if something happens at a Bologna game, if something happens at a Poggibonsi game, I don't care. The standard should be equal. And this is not the case. And this is something that needs to be spoken about harshly, I feel.
I agree. Yeah, and that's the thing is we're not asking for lessened penalties for Juventus. We're asking when people do bad that they get punished as much as we would. right? For consistency and transparency, and not have the fines be different, or not have a third of the referees that we've had get relegated after the match after they referee Juventus. I mean, that's just horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible for a zillion reasons, for the integrity of the game, for their keep racism out mantra, right? For all that stuff. It's really a bad look.
We forgot Adzic, Beppe. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't forget. I was trying to avoid it. No,
Okay.
no. But I spoke about it also today. I think that Adzic, no, I think has been the worst one in that first half. Whatever he touched, it was breaking. It started bad, and he was yelled. I believe that he had so much intention to show the world that he deserved to play a game of Champions League, that he deserves to be a starter, that immediately, yeah, before the first minute, missing that first pass, and also Spalletti, that for the first time he's becoming vocal, and it went on him. I think that he lost concentration and mood. Then we saw that the player. Unfortunately, we see a one-to-one sprint, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the velocity to go for it. Yesterday, he missed everything. Now, if we are here to start blaming a kid of 19 years old, by here, not the three of us, but I speak about what I read during the game, but especially after. If we are here to rate a bad performance that he received a 4 in the papers, I agree with you. If you are here to start I'm not saying even insulting, but over hating a player and finishing his career because 45 minutes, where I believe that on that one, Spalletti also has responsibilities. Because if I ask the chat and you, if you believe in the kid because he's showing you beautiful things in training session, because Thiago Motta spoke well about him, Tudor spoke well about him, Spalletti already spoke well about him, so it means that the guy has qualities that he's showing training session. If you really believe in him, and you have 3 games that are upcoming, Champions League, where if you don't win, you're out. Cagliari at home in Serie A, especially a Champions League game away, with the temperature, with the field. Then you have Cagliari at home, and then you have Udinese in Coppa Italia. These are the 3 upcoming games. Which is the one that you are starting Adzic? It's not the BODO GLIMT.
No, it's not.
Coppa Italia for sure.
Coppa Italia, even maybe if you want like Cagliari at home, but not the Champions League in these conditions, in a must-win game. So, but anyway, he gave him the chance. He didn't take it yesterday. We are here to also support him. I remember Criscito back then, a young player that is coming from our youth system, starts to play in first team. He's missing 1 game where he was destroyed by Francesco Totti. We sold him because the guy was totally destroyed by the criticism, and it was over. Kulusevski said it openly as well when he goes to Tottenham. I couldn't. It was not the environment for me. If you go to that documentary, I think Amazon Prime or whatever, where you see he's speaking at the table with Bonucci, with Chiesa, and they're speaking about the whistles at the stadium, and you see his face, and you see that some players they have. Adzic is quite strong. Huh? It's a quite strong kid. Now, if we start taking a kid of 19 as the example of we end his career, I think it's a bit exaggerated to me.
It's absolutely exaggerated. It's absolutely would be exaggerated. I think it's very clear. Like when you see a young player, and we've seen him now in bits across season.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is what we read. But even Mbappe last year, people were criticizing like it was a finished player. Mbappe today scores again 4 goals.
4 goals.
Is incredible. Some people can have bad games, can have bad moments, even if they already showed huge big things in his career. Now we are speaking about a kid guy, but that's the new generation of today. If you miss one thing, they expose you, they kill you.
If
which is
Zidane played,
unfair. Go ahead, Frederic.
no, sorry, I was just thinking if Zidane played in this era, like if this was Zidane's first couple of months at Juventus, he'd be at Genoa by now already, and people would not pay any attention to him.
But
I mean, he
then we cry because Sule, Huis, and then who is the other one? They scored all this weekend. They scored a goal. Then we
yeah,
cry because Sule. Oh, if we go back to before he went on loan to Frosinone, when he was playing with Allegri, people were
yeah.
criticizing him. I remember. I have the tickets. Sule was criticized, and no, because he's too skinny, because he doesn't have the maturity, because he's scared, because he doesn't go. So and then we cry, but we made a mistake. We sold him.
Yeah, we need to give him time. And I think, at the end of the season, we need to evaluate like how many midfielders will we have then. That's also because the kid just needs playing time. And if he doesn't get it, at Juventus, I
I
think
agree.
it wouldn't be an unwise move to loan him out and see what he can do there and play without any pressure and get those minutes in, get some match rhythm in, get some affinity with Serie A football in general, and then you can see what you can do. But to overly quit, because I read some things today that made my gut wrench, like Adzic must never play again. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
but
like he cost us the Champions League final or anything, but yeah, I mean, it's a
And but
bit too much.
that's on the coach and the player ultimately. Like, look, we can talk about accountability and fan bases and stuff. The problem is, Beppe, you, me, and Frederic are not going to solve the reactivity of certain fans, and so certainly in the social media sphere, right? It's ultimately the team. The team has to bind around a young player like this, and the coach has to say, look, no question, not a good game. And someone who's coach, you see what Adzic was doing. Adzic was doing exactly what you would describe as I describe as a coach, as a player who's trying too hard. Like,
if I'm Spalletti, I play him against Cagliari.
well, well,
Yeah, I
I mean, maybe not. I think what you do is you sit him down and you say, look,
Maybe
no,
not. Let's not exaggerate.
it's not. You don't force. I guess my point with that is Beppe, you don't force the situation. You sit him down and say, look, that was not a good game, but I believe in you. Okay, we're going to put you in a position to grow and be successful. You said, Beppe, right? The coach has to put him in a position to be successful. Starting this game in those conditions was. And I was chatting a little bit about it when I could in our post game, was not really probably a good decision from Spalletti. In fact, I had a couple things about how we started the game tactically, positionally, and with the energy level that I put against Spalletti. Okay, and so you sit him down and you say, look, we believe in you. Okay, we're gonna and then you come up with a plan, whether it's play in the next game, whether it's play in Udinese or whatever it might be. But you reaffirm not only as a coach but as a squad your belief in his skill, and then you back him for it, whether it's in the next game or soon on. He's not a regular starter, Beppe, so it doesn't have to be in the next one. But you reaffirm that, and you take that over the course of a season. And I think as a fan base, when you have to have a different barometer. When Zidane comes in, you expect him to be Zidane, and you hold him to that bar. You can't hold a kid you pluck out of the Montenegrin league, the worst league in Europe, at 18, and expect him to be Zidane, right? There has to be a level of grace that we provide. There's nothing wrong with calling out a bad performance, but like you said, extending it to the hate is unacceptable and unreasonable.
Today, I cannot tell you if he has the level of Juve. We didn't see it, partially because he didn't receive a lot of chances, partially because he was injured when he could have that opportunity last season, partially because Atalanta game, unfortunately, has been put in really bad conditions by Gatti on that goal that we conceded, because that could have been a beautiful turnaround after that goal of Inter, where he received a chance and then Tudor didn't play him anymore. So, I don't know today if he's really level of first team Juve ready. Today he didn't show. Just sometimes, but it's not only Adzic, it could be for whatever young player. When I see a lot of we need the players, we want the players, we want youth, and because we never play the youth, and then they are doing mistakes, and then we are like putting them on a cross there publicly, and we are just waiting them for to be sold. I think it's exaggerating. Then I agree with everything that you said, Zach. Is there a last topic that you want to raise, or we say goodbye to all the Juventini and we go back to our families?
I have one question
Oh,
for
here
you,
we go.
Beppe.
Here we go.
for me.
Just in
Please.
percentages, no names, no nothing. Just in percentage terms, how big do you think the chances are that we will get a central midfielder in January? January or I'm not talking about summer. How big do you think the chances are we'll get a center midfielder?
I think 100%, but I couldn't give you a percentage in terms of the quality of that center midfield because that will depend a lot of the coming games. But that we will have 100%. Then it could be Alcaraz, or it could be Bernardo
Bernardo
Silva.
Silva.
You know, if we want, that's the problem. Sometimes it's better not, having having one and spending
Like,
some money on.
Yeah.
I just hope that we don't go for a player like a 6-month contract. I hope that that's over. Because having then Colomani and Renato Vega that helped a lot last season, without for Colomani there was the possibility, but we didn't expect that possibility. But for Renato Vega, not even the possibility to go for him. It's tough. So
Look, Beppe, you weren't here, but I'm starting my GoFundMe for the €6 million for Patrick Berg. So we're gonna make it happen.
yeah, yesterday he touched 118 balls.
30 more touches and 10 more passes completed than the next player on either. I mean, like I said, I think twice now. He was the best midfielder on the pitch the whole game.
in the national team as well.
It was, and his national team contribute. I mean, across different competitions, across national team, Champions League, and his local in the local Norwegian league. The dude is a stud this year. Absolute
A player that can climb mountains.
I mean, he's 28. This is his prime.
Let's go fund me. Didn't get it, huh?
Well, Berg Mountain. Yeah, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Nice one, Zach. Nice.
I know. Look, Americans, we know something sometimes. Okay.
No, I'm not going to play the racial card. I'm not going to play the racial
American.
card.
I see you guys.
No. It was like, yeah, it was.
Okay, I have a game for you two. That's the very last, and then we say goodbye. As tomorrow is Thanksgiving, one thing that you want to say thank you for Juve for this season, and one thing that you want to give, a promise that you are giving to Juve. This is how it works, Thanksgiving, because I have no idea. Except
you generally, generally you go around the table and you say what you're thankful for. I think I do like the twist though, Beppe, of what you give, because I think thankful is too focused on the receiving end. I think we also need to be giving contribution for other people to be thankful for. And I'm going to start since I'm already talking. I am thankful for, and the biggest part of being a Juventus fan for me, especially one in America, so far away from the action, so to speak, is the community. Beppe, Frederic, everybody in the chat, everyone who tunes in, subscribes, and comments to us, from being so far from the action. There's no Houston Juve club. It means the world to me to be able to invest in and spend time with people who are passionate about a team and a sport that I am also passionate with. So I am eternally thankful. Frankly, I wouldn't do this without people like y'all. And I'm speaking to everybody, not just the two of you. And I think one really important thing is when you're thankful for something is to then give back. And so I'm going to continue to try my best for, bringing the Juventus community and together, whether it be through the Turin Giants content, Turin Giants plus Beppe content, or various things that Frederic and I have planned for the second half of the season. I think it's really important to always give back and give different avenues, fun avenues for people to connect over the common passion of Juventus.
It's hard to top that one. Jesus Christ. No, I'm in the same boat. I'm just thankful because I've been a Juventus supporter for over 40 years right now. I've always felt connected with Juventus in any way, shape, or form, especially when they weren't doing well. And I stand by that. But it's nice to see a lot of people, even in these bad sporting times, financial times, that they stick together and have the same passion and share it with each other. And Beppe and Turin Giants connecting that feeling, that sentiment of, shall I say it, Juventinità. And for me, that's a true blessing because it gives me another perspective, and it gives me a lot of nice people to meet virtually and in real life. And for me, this is the biggest treasure of it all. So I'm thankful for that. And what I like to give is, fun. I hope we can have a little bit fun as a Juventus community. I hope we can share the good times as well, and the nice things that are coming our way, and we can look back at these less fortunate times and smile together as one community. So that's hopefully what I can bring to the table in the near future. And I also want to say, like, I have you two right now in front of me, so I'm thankful for you two because Zach, you've grown out to be a really big friend of mine over the last, what is it, year and a half. And Beppe, for the limited time we had available, I'm very thankful for what you have given me, not just on the pod, but behind the scenes as well, and little text messages and support and things like that. So I really appreciate you two, and I'm really happy to have you guys in my life in any way, shape, or form. So thank you.
Yeah, that fantastic. Better than that, it was impossible, guys. Thank you, Frederic. Thank you, Zach, to be fantastic partners. I'm looking forward, if I'm not wrong, to next Thursday.
Yeah, back to Thursday.
Back to Thursdays. What can people expect? This week, I will try, guys. I received these kind of. So I have these kind of top cards.
Aha!
You know that I love collecting. I have shirts and I didn't start yet with cards, so it's the moment to start with cards. So unboxing from cards, I will try to be like these content creators that are opening cards and reacting. And I must say that I have them since today. They arrived today, and I don't know how I didn't open them yet, but I can't wait. So this one will be a real fun video. If Juve is not giving us a lot of smiles, at least I will try to do it like that with opening cards. That's good. So that's upcoming this week. Of course. I will miss the Cagliari Juve. I didn't say it yet. Yeah, I will. But I will watch it immediately when I come home in replay. But I will not do the watching. Yeah, Jamiroquai on Saturday. But
Ooh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people told me that it's really, really good. So I'm a bit. I would have loved also to go to Radiohead because I love Radiohead, but they are not coming in the neighborhood. They go to London, I believe, today, but otherwise they go to Berlin. It's far, far away. So yeah, I will miss that one. But that being said, don't forget, this one can be listening audio podcast on Spotify and Apple, or you go on the YouTube channel of Turin Giants. That the link should be in the description as well. If I didn't do that, I will adapt it. But yeah, it's there. It's there. You can go and follow immediately
at Turin Giants official.
Turin Giants official, where you have the channel you can click and you can follow, because there is much more content. And if you appreciate the positivity of Zach and the negativity of Fred, that's where you will find them. Grazie ragazzi.
Thank you all.
We see each other next week. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.